Hey, y'all. Snowman is back. The Friday edition of Snowman in the Morning. Presented by Butcher Box and presented by Cleaver Supplements. And I can't thank those sponsors enough for hanging with me, even with all the difficulties we've had going on here. It's our Super Bowl 51 special, and now we come to the point where we talk about Super Bowl 51. On the hotline with me, as he's been all season long hanging with me, Mark Kelly joining me. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, Brian. How are you?
Your voice sounds like mine. I had two games last night.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My headphones aren't working this morning, so I'm a little bit frustrated right now. And when you can sense frustration in my voice. So.
I understand. Trust me, I understand. All right, let's get right to it. This is how we're going to close out the show, talking Super Bowl 51 and a little bit of Super Bowl history. And I'll open with that. What are your favorite Super Bowls, my friend? I think I know the answer to. I think I know one of them, but I want to let you answer it.
No, you're not even close with one of them.
Okay.
I'm still not convinced that one ever existed.
Good answer.
Right. You got to understand, when you see everything in life that makes you realize that must be an impossibility, like everything else shows you that could never have happened. You know, it's like you're waking up and you're seeing the sun every morning now. Mm-hmm. Where before you would wake up and there just would be darkness. So you can't imagine a world that Super Bowl III actually existed when you've seen what I've seen the last 42 years.
This
so I'm
is
sorry.
True. This is true.
Yeah, again, since I was born in 1974, my memory of Super Bowl start with Super Bowl 15.
Gotcha.
So. That was, for those of you who don't know, the Raiders and Eagles in the Superdome, where Jim Plunkett won the MVP.
Yep.
And the Raiders won 27-10.
27-10.
And I still remember the pass to Kenny King that went for like 60 yards for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. Rod Martin intercepting 3 passes off Ron Jaworski. But probably one of my favorite Super Bowls was the Giants and Bills.
25.
Yeah, I mean that was at a bad time. I mean, in my life, that was when I had cancer. And I remember watching the Super Bowl at home, and I was diagnosed like maybe a month before, and it looked pretty bad. I mean, I was told I had 6 months to live when I was diagnosed back in December 1990. So that was a weird time in my life, but it was a great Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And I tell you, another really one that I really enjoyed because it was the first close one in like 15 years was the Broncos and the Packers. That was Super Bowl 32. And that Terrell Davis won the MVP because not only that, but you had the John Elway, who the year before, if you remember, the Broncos lost in the divisional round to the Jaguars.
Yeah.
And that I thought that was a better Bronco team. That they were 13-3, and they dominated the NFL that year. And in '97, they finished 12-4. They didn't even win the division. If you remember, the Chiefs won a division.
They did.
And then they had to go. They beat it. They got revenge on the Jaguars in the wild card round. Then they went to Kansas City in the divisional round and won a tight game, 14-10. And then, thanks to a few mistakes by Cordell Stewart in the championship game, they went to Pittsburgh and won. So people didn't expect that Bronco team to beat Green Bay Packer team that won the year before and were just as dominating in '97, going into Candlestick Park in a championship game and beating a very good Niner team. So
don't remind me. Damn it.
Right. You remember that, and
yes,
I mean that's when Steve Young had problems winning the NFC Championship game.
Right.
But I never thought that the Broncos would win that game because of how good the Packers were. And they gave us a Super Bowl after years of blowouts. Mm-hmm. So that was a special one in my heart. And even though I hated the ending, the Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl a couple years ago was great. I mean, two of the best teams in football going back and forth.
Yeah.
The defending champions against the seemingly perennial champions, and coming down to a last play that, even though it's mind-boggling to some how it was executed, it was still pretty exciting. And you got to give credit to Butler and the Patriots for making the play.
Indeed.
So I think those three really stick out in my mind. You have individual performances that I'll never forget. See, I'm one guy who I have a sickness, and I wanted to put this on YouTube, and I haven't found somebody to be able to record it, but I can name all 50 Super Bowls. I can tell you who won, the score, the MVP, and the site by memory, and it's a little bit of a sickness that I have. I don't know how I could do it and do it so quickly. But
it's okay. I have the same sickness. All right. I have the same sickness.
And it's only because of I've seen most of them, and if I didn't see them live, I definitely watch videos of them over and over and over again.
Exactly.
But if we want to talk MVPs, I could tell you 10 defensive players won MVP in the Super Bowl, and that was included the co-MVPs of Super Bowl 12 with Harvey Martin and Randy
White.
Yeah. 3 defensive backs have won MVP, 3 linebackers have won MVP, 4 defensive tackles have won MVP, and one special teams player. So, and by far the quarterback has won the most MVPs in the Super Bowl.
Let me test my trivia. I think the special teams player that won was Desmond Howard.
Exactly. Yep. And do you remember who the first defensive player was to win the MVP?
First defensive player.
I'll give you a hint. He was the only player on a losing team.
That's right. Chuck Martin, Dallas.
Chuck Howley, yep.
Chuck Howley, Dallas.
Yeah.
Super Bowl 5.
The ugliest Super Bowl ever played. I think there was 9 turnovers down in the Orange Bowl.
Yep. Super Bowl 5.
Super Bowl 5, yep.
Yep.
And here's a trivia question for you. Who is the only quarterback to win the Super Bowl MVP without throwing a touchdown pass?
Without throwing a touchdown pass? Oh boy, it's not any of my guesses, because all the ones I'm thinking about threw a touchdown pass. Okay, you know what? I'll take a shot.
He didn't throw a pass the entire fourth quarter.
He didn't throw a pass the entire fourth quarter. Oh boy. All right, I'll take a shot. This is probably going to be wrong, but I'll take a shot. Super Bowl 7, Bob Greasy.
No. But close. We were talking about it earlier.
Super Bowl 5.
Nope.
No?
What did we talk about when we first came on?
Super Bowl 3.
That's right.
Super Bowl 3. I should have known. Joe Namath. Should have known. Doggone it.
The only touchdown in that game was Matt Snell going off the left side.
And he ran it in. 16-7 was that final score. All right, quickly, let's get into our Super Bowl 51 breakdown before we break out of here on this Friday. Want to thank all the folks for joining us. All right, man, let's start on this side of the ball. Patriots offense versus Falcons defense.
Well, you have the number 1 defense against the number 1 offense, and as we had talked about, the only time in the 5 previous times that the offense won was the Niners over the Broncos in Super Bowl 24.
Yep.
So even as good as the Patriot defense has been this year, and Belichick has been able to concoct a bunch of different things to throw at people, Matt Ryan and the Falcons have been so dominant. And like I've talked about to a couple people this week, every time we expected the Falcons to be the Falcons and show us what they've shown in their history, they have proved us wrong. So
indeed, they have,
and they've been able to put up points on everybody. And Matt Ryan has become the first player in postseason history with 4 straight games and 3 touchdown passes in each game. So he has been really consistent. Okay, and that's been all year. And getting the ball to 13 different people for touchdowns. They've been really impossible to stop. I don't see New England being able to stop them. Okay,
I don't either.
But on the other hand, you have a guy who's going to be in a 7th Super Bowl, and Belichick and Brady know that the times of them making Super Bowl runs are probably coming to an end. I'm not saying this is the last time they're going to make it, but it's not like they have 10 more years of doing this. Okay? So
Tom Brady keeps himself in
they
the
know
shape
it is
that
their
he's
time.
in.
I find it hard to believe that the Falcons defense can make as many plays as they're going to need to make to stop Brady and the Patriots. I think it's going to come down to a last possession somewhere, and whether Belichick's defense will be able to stop Matt Ryan is going to determine the game. I still think the Patriots are going to wind up winning 31, about a 31-27 score. And I think, Brady will win the MVP. He'll probably have, in my opinion, he'll probably have about 4 touchdown passes.
I think they'll both throw for at least 4. At least. It's going to be one of those kind of high-scoring games, but a lot of people are picking the Patriots. I'm going with the underdog. I'm picking the Falcons.
Yeah.
For some reason, I got this goofy feeling as Matt Ryan has been consistent all playoff long, as you said, he's going to be the one with the last at bat, and he's going to deliver. I'll go with Matt Ryan and the Falcons.
Yeah, I certainly could see that happening. But to me, the bigger story is the fact that Belichick and Brady aren't going to be here that much longer. And they know they need to make their mark now.
Right.
They've had a couple chances against the Giants where they really could have separated themselves, and they didn't. And then they know they were lucky the last Super Bowl they were in.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Brady really led them back in the
happened.
fourth quarter and was the reason why they won that game.
Right.
Belichick knows that he was lucky to win that game. So he still feels he needs to prove that the Patriots' fifth Super Bowl would no doubt put him in the echelon where nobody can touch him, and they couldn't, criticize him anymore for that Super Bowl win. You only won because the Seahawks made a big mistake. All that would be out the window if he wins on Sunday.
Well, it's going to be a good one. The Patriots and the Falcons, the number 1 offense versus the number 1 defense. And this won't be the last time you'll hear Mark on the show. We're going to talk a little hockey. We're going to wrap up the NFL season next week. But, man, we got a whole bunch of stuff coming down the line. This is probably our shortest conversation because, like I said, we're going to have to get out of here in a little bit.
I know.
I'm
sorry I was late, Brian.
It's all right. It is all right, my man. It is all right. We're going to get back into our normal mode here in a week's time when we wrap up the season. Then we start previewing what every team needs. Mark Kelly, my good buddy, hanging on with Snowman in the morning. This morning he comes via our ButcherBox hotline. Give ButcherBox a visit at butcherbox.com and start your delivery today. For about $6.50 per meal, you can get organic beef, chicken, and all kinds of natural meats delivered to your door, as I said, for less than $6.50 per month. Visit them online at butcherbox.com. Mark Kelly hanging out with me this morning as he does every week. I appreciate it, my brother. Thank you.
God bless, Brian. We'll talk to you next week.
Talk to you next week. And on that note, we got to get out of here. Our preview episode is complete. You'll hear this on the podcast edition. I'm going to use a little WWF demolition to take us out of here. We'll talk to you Monday. Have a great day. God bless. And remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, the only time you truly fail is if you quit. And I ain't quitting anytime soon. Thanks, y'all. I love you. Snowman out.